Pearson. Put through by Greenhoff. Jones is after it. Pearson shot, goal!
Welcome again to the big match. Today on the programme, action from 3 of yesterday's games, 1 from the second division and 2 from the first. Our main match comes from the second division and it's Spurs against Fulham. And we shall be supporting that with the big Manchester derby game, City against United, and from the Midlands, Leicester City against Everton. Now we go to the sunshine at White Hart Lane and join the 31,000 crowd for the game between Spurs and a Fulham side, now without George Best since his unexpected flight back to America 48 hours earlier.
So the man wearing the number 7 shirt, which was to have been worn by George Best, is young Brian Greenaway, playing his first full game of the season for Fulham. And he'll be anxious to get on the mark today, but a man really on the mark this season for Spurs is John Duncan. Back to full fitness again, and he's already scored 6 this season in 5 games. Glenn Hoddle, a young midfield star, has also been in exceptional form for Tottenham, and he once again takes the number 4 shirt in this Tottenham team. Spurs, in fact, field an unchanged side. No problems with injury, and with a 100% home record to defend. Last week, we saw Pat Jennings in an Arsenal shirt. His successor, Barry Daines, now gets the chance to establish himself with Tottenham. As for Fulham, still reeling after the flight of George Best, manager Bobby Campbell names a side that includes former Spurs full-back Ray Evans at 2, and former Spurs junior John Margerison as sub. It's the first Fulham visit here in the league game, in fact, since 1967. And in their 4 league games so far this season, they've scored only once, and that from a penalty. Spurs have done pretty well for crowds so far this season, in spite of playing second division football. And the referee today is Mr. Tom Bune from Sussex. So away we go, Spurs attacking the goal to our left in white shirts and black shorts. Fulham in a change strip of all red with black stockings. Lacey up well, a big tall man there, will win a fair number of balls in the air, I would have thought, during the coming 90 minutes. Spurs have made just the start to their second division career that they would have wanted to, in the hope of bouncing straight back into the first division. And Fulham, for their part, have really struggled along in these first few games of the season, largely because they just haven't been able to put the ball in the net. 1 in 4 games. Here's Taylor. Well, that was struck away as far as McNabb. Terry Naylor. And a throw given to Tottenham. Neil McNabb with it. Here's Hoddle. Chris Jones finding McNabb. Good turn for Naylor. Long high ball there, testing Payton, and he fisted off the head. And a shot by Jimmy Holmes, just over the top there. Well, Payton felt that his fists were the best weapon there. Wasn't a really powerful punch off the head of Duncan, falling to Holmes, and back over the top. And now McNabb. Duncan. And McNabb. Cross to Chris Jones on the far side again. Lacey was in very close attendance. Hoddle dinking that little cross in there. Pratt and Fulham in their defence. And a certain amount of disorder allowed that to go a long, long way. Lovely, delicate little cross in again by Glenn Hoddle. A beautiful touch he's got. Just flicked on by Pratt. So Jerry Payton. Hoddle, nice chest trap there, but that might be a little ambitious. Except that he was giving it back again. Now Jones, hit first time, a yard wide. Again, very nearly making something out of nothing. It was Everton who gave that one away, and Hoddle took full advantage. A nice ball played through there for Chris Jones. Story for Bullivant. Mitchell tried to get the touch there towards Maybank. Throw which Peter Story stealing a few yards, and the linesman won't let him do it, and the referee's coming across to have a word with him. Well, they're taunting him with Arsenal reject. He's still got a lot of football left in him, I'm sure, for Fulham. Of course, many was the battle Peter Story had here in the great Arsenal-Tottenham derby games. Now with another throw for... No, it's a free kick, in fact, for Fulham, which Ray Evans will take. Turned in towards Lacey. Well, no whistle went and no flag was up. And Spurs were a little bit casual there, and I think Lacey was maybe a little surprised to find himself right out there, but there was certainly no suggestion of offside, and Spurs escaped that one. Fulham's throw. Hoddle, Taylor, Perryman. And here's McNabb. Taylor, Holmes, Terry Naylor. Will he get to that one before it gets to the corner flag? Yes. Crossed in well there towards Chris Jones, a backward header, and again that man Lacey is there for Fulham. McNabb, Holmes. So a left foot shot was on the way. It falls for Peter Taylor. Chipped in again there towards Jones, and a good save again. Ball falling nicely for Peter Taylor there in a bit of space. He might have shot, but he decided to chip it in, and Jones's header was saved by Payton. Free kick to Tottenham, and Perryman will take it. Bit of a push there on John Duncan. Oh, and Chris Jones somehow from 7 yards out put it high over the crossbar. An unbelievable miss, that one. It looked to be a push on John Duncan, but the ball eventually coming through to Chris Jones. And it looked a formality putting it wide of Payton. Well, he did that all right, but he also put it over the crossbar. Perryman just retrieving that situation when Maybank might have looked dangerous, and now will Dane stop the corner? No, he won't. So a corner for Fulham, and the man obviously who might be of considerable danger to Tottenham in this situation is the big number 5. There he goes, John Lacey. Going to stand right on that Tottenham goal line. John Evanson with the corner for Fulham. Curled in again. Oh, a head and a fist got to that one and took it as far as Ray Evans. Chipped in again. Good idea by Evans, but always carrying just a little too high to clear the bar. Lacey jumping again, that time against Jones. And Taylor getting the better of Strong on that occasion. But Evanson was back. They've come here with a certain amount of caution for them. They're not really at the moment springing very many people forward. They're packing that midfield and the defence, and they're denying Spurs as much space as they possibly can. Now that's interesting. Hoddle high there. Payton fisting it away, and John Pratt knocking it back over the top. In fact, when that ball came out for John Pratt, he probably had a bit more time than he allowed himself there. Hitting it on the half volley. not really getting over it. Everton, strong. Nice skill by Holmes. Now Pratt. Played in just a little bit behind those front men for Tottenham. And here's Evans again for Fulham. Bullivant. That's not a bad ball either for Maybank. Everton couldn't quite get it and certainly couldn't confuse him into an error, but it might yet come for Fulham. And in the end, Spurs scramble it away with Osgood. And now a chance for a Tottenham break. Taylor. Story going back with him. Lovely. Oh, and a beautiful header there by Duncan. A real masterpiece of a move that by Tottenham after it looked as though they were in danger at the other end. And Taylor did everything right, because he hit that ball at exactly the right height into the space in front of the front runners. Duncan was there with his head, but he hit it straight at Jerry Payton. A beautiful move. Greenaway. Holmes. Duncan. Pratt. Really getting hard in on that situation. Playing it now for John Duncan again. What a lovely idea, but also a good quick spot by Jerry Payton in that Fulham goal. Pratt playing that ball wide of the defence. Oh. Now, no goal. Thought for a moment that Tom Bume was going to turn around and point to the centre, but there was an infringement clearly on the goalkeeper. Going back to that ball of John Pratt's, though, played nicely for Duncan, but the keeper was quick to spot it. And then after that, we had that slight shenanigans, but obviously there was an infringement there by Duncan on Payton, although Duncan put the ball into the net. No goal. Well, that's a bit of a silly thing to do. They very nearly gave it to him again, except that Lacey recovered. So Fulham want to take breath and sort themselves out a little bit for the moment. But certainly they've defended well. Certainly in numbers. They've come with so many midfield players and so many defenders, and really with an apology of an attack. But they've succeeded in thwarting Tottenham, who've had more of the game in this first half. But for Ray Evans, who really has probably played as well as anybody in this Fulham defence. An extraordinary miss by Chris Jones, and then a brilliant run by Peter Taylor and a header by John Duncan, the nearest that Tottenham have come to a goal in this first half. So a lot more to come on the big match today. We'll leave you for just a moment with a half-time score here at White Hart Lane, which is Spurs 0, Fulham 0. We'll be back. Welcome back to White Hart Lane. It's Fulham then who are about to tick off now at the start of the second half. The first half goalless. And the ball straight back with Jerry Payton. Naylor now for Tottenham. Duncan being pushed that time by Lacey. A free kick then for Tottenham. Which Hoddle will take. Osgood again on the far side. Duncan making a little break there, but it didn't look like reaching him. Hoddle again. Might get another chance if he can shake off Evanson. That's a good-looking cross there. Duncan with a header. Goal kick. Crossed that ball in well under pressure, and Duncan is so alive to that situation. Evans. Up to 10 minutes now of almost of the second half, just over 10 minutes of the second half gone. Now Mitchell. Played for Maybank. He could have stabbed at that one. It might have been interesting. In the end, it's Steve Perryman who turns it back. Maybank getting the better of Holmes. Played there for Mitchell. Oh, a linesman was flagging on the far side. There was an infringement there, and the goal will not count. Well, maybe it was Maybank offside. The infringement was over there, and even though Mitchell put the ball in the net, it doesn't count. Here's Taylor. Little low cross stuck in there. Oh, and so nearly for Chris Jones. He bursts on the scene every so often, Peter Taylor. It's a fairly patchy performance by him, but when he does things, they very often produce all sorts of danger. Peter Taylor, a nice little turn there, a very good ball played into that 6-yard area, and Chris Jones couldn't quite get on the end of it. "25 minutes now to go. A bit of rough and tumble over there. Peter Storey involved in it, and Storey's going to have his name taken. Peter Storey's going to get the yellow card. Went diving in there. And the yellow card. So it's a free kick for Tottenham. Duncan. Fulham. Maybank. Storey. Will Brian Green away, but Tottenham coming away again with Hoddle. Well, what a ball that was for Chris Jones. All of 35 yards, weighted to perfection, and Payton down at the feet of John Duncan. And another interesting breakaway there by Tottenham, but clearly it was the ball by Hoddle that really was the thing that opened it all up. Well, we're left with a quarter of an hour. Spurs 0, Fulham 0. Green away. Naylor. Taylor. That's a good cross. Duncan's on the far side with the header for Chris Jones. And at last they've broken that Fulham deadlock. And Peter Taylor sitting down by the corner flag. Well, there's the man who made it, Peter Taylor, bursting on the scene again. He got that over by the byline. A lovely long cross. John Duncan up well, unselfish as ever, down for Chris Jones, and hooked it in from close range to Jones. Spurs 1, Fulham 0. Just under a quarter of an hour to go. Peter Taylor made it. And Chris Jones bending over there, the man who scored it. With a big assist too from John Duncan. So Fulham have been broken down at last. They came to defend, or maybe they would say they were made to defend by the onslaughts of Tottenham, but certainly they've shown little inclination to come forward themselves. And now if they're going to save anything from this game at White Hart Lane, which has been so disappointing for so long, they've got to come and show what they can do up front now. Strong going in there. Mitchell trying to hit something on the turn. And away goes Peter Taylor again. Fulham right back with him. Taylor putting on all the tricks now. That's not a bad cross either, but it was just that little bit too close to Payton. Well, the referee has stopped the play to have a word. Something maybe that happened off the field. John Pratt and Peter Story are standing innocently. Obviously satisfied the referee, whatever it was. Everton. Heading low this time towards Mitchell. It might have gone through to Greenaway. Evans is there. This is the longest spell of attack, and Spurs have brought everybody out. An incredible line. That whole line of defending white shirts came out as one man, but they were still caught by the well-timed run of Ray Evans. Bullivan crossing it in. Strong is right in there. Linesman flagging again. And a foul on the Spurs keeper, Harry Danes. And in fact, it's Les Strong who's down and prostrate in the box there, in the goal mouth there. Well, he really, as that long cross came in from Ray Evans, he really went flying in there to try and get something for Fulham. This strong, okay. It'll be a free kick to Tottenham. Hoddle, bit of skill there. Taylor. Naylor. Duncan again, wanting the ball in the air, getting it in the air, but not quite getting up enough to beat Evans and Lacey. McNabb and Story over in that corner there. And McNabb got the better of him. Lacey now, Hoddle. Pratt with a shot. Oh, and it took a good save. Well, a shot out of nowhere there from John Pratt. Hoddle looked as though he might try and get something. In the end, it was a short ball to John Pratt. Hit first time. Naylor. And Hoddle. And McNabb. Long shot, tipped over. McNabb taking a surprise long shot there. And well timed that tip over by Jerry Payton. Pratt with the corner. And Gale with the leap. And a free kick for Tottenham, or for Fulham rather. Jerry Payton coming roaring out of his goal, knows that every second counts. I think he might be too late even so. The referee has checked with both linesmen. Whistles going around the ground now, but not from Mr. Bune. And Fulham look again as Evanson crosses that ball in there. Lacey had gone up there, and McNabb with a chance of making a quick break. Naylor playing it forward again, but Taylor halted in his stride by the final whistle. One goal and a victory for Spurs, but little else. Chris Jones, who got the vital goal 15 minutes or so from the end. Peter Taylor with that beautiful cross of his was the man who made it, helped in between times by a very unselfish head down by John Duncan. Not a lot to talk about in this game, to be honest, except that the final scoreline at White Hart Lane is Spurs 1, Fulham 0.
Well, those were the highlights, and there weren't many of them in a dreadfully disappointing game. I wouldn't want to deceive you. Fulham's defence squeezed the life out of that match, and almost out of Tottenham as well. And yet I suppose the Fulham fans might have gone away wondering why they had a goal disallowed in the second half. Let's clear that one up for you. It involves Teddy Maybank going in on the back of Jimmy Holmes here. Referee Tom Bune suggesting that that was a foul. It looks a bit clumsy, but it doesn't really, to me, look much of a foul. And Maybank comes away with the ball. Certainly there was no question of offside. John Mitchell, as you can see there on the left of the picture, in an onside position. As the ball comes across, he slips the ball into the net. But the decision had already been given, and I suppose Fulham might feel a little aggrieved by it. I must say also that Spurs don't look totally convincing yet, though. But how could you argue with a side that is unbeaten and has conceded only 3 goals in its first 6 League and Cup games, and got men like Steve Perryman and Glenn Hoddle, who thought was very quiet yesterday, in fact, John Duncan, who's got that nose for goals, and the hard-working Chris Jones. But they are a bit patchy for all that, and I think that's probably best summed up by the patchy form yesterday of winger Peter Taylor. For spells, he seemed right out of it, but then, my goodness, he also produced 3 marvellous moments that might have meant 3 goals for Tottenham, and the first was probably the best move of the game. Fulham had Spurs in a bit of trouble there for a moment. They get out of it well, though, and it's Chris Jones's pass to Peter Taylor, and away he goes. And these really are killer balls that these wingers place in early on in front of an on-rushing front man. A brave header there by John Duncan, and Jerry Payton, who played very well in goal for Fulham yesterday, beautifully positioned for it. An identical ball in a way here from Peter Taylor, taking on his defender, getting past him, and then slipping that ball into the 6-yard area, inviting front men to run onto it, and Chris Jones just failing to get the touch. But ironically, it was really an old-fashioned cross that finally undid Fulham, as Terry Naylor plays it down the wing there for Peter Taylor. This time he hoists a long, high one. John Duncan, he really does get up so well. There he is again, guiding it there, and for once Chris Jones has lost his marker. And that was a goal that meant 2 points for Spurs in what was really a very disappointing game. Let's go on now for some more action, and for that we go into the Midlands, where Frank McClintock is fast being made to realise what a tough business it is managing a First Division club. Before yesterday's home game with Everton, Frank's Leicester City side had won only 1 of their opening 4 games, during which time they'd scored only 1 goal. So here we are then, Leicester City against Everton at Filbert Street. The pictures from ATV, the commentators Hugh Johns, Leicester in the dark shirts.
Higgins with the free kick. Ticked on, and Latchford goes in. Wellington's a bit slow to come off. A chip is on now. Wellington's off his line. Here's Thomas. Now Latchford to drive it left-footed. It's there. Bob Latchford. 14 minutes into the game, Bob Latchford puts Everton 1-0 in front. That was a bit of a tragedy. The first attack wasn't built up well, but it stretched Leicester. And then when Thomas took over, nips in, a 1-2, Latchford goes on, the left footer. Swerved away from Wellington. Earl glides it on. Dobson is there. Out Rioch for Darracott. Mackenzie. Sims plays it. May plays it out rather. Darracott. Picks up Mackenzie. Flick away from Rofe. Rofe gives another throw in. Mackenzie wants to take it. Darracott shouting at him, leave it. Mackenzie helps it on. And the shot's there for Thomas. And he got it. 2-0 Everton. So easy. 37 minutes into the first half. 2-0 Everton. The throw-in, well taken by Darracott. Places it on Mackenzie's head. The flick backwards, which escapes the Leicester defence. And Thomas in like a knife. Might have taken a deflection, but it's Thomas's goal. Samples.
Off the wall, corner. Well, that's the first corner that Leicester have had in the game. Going over to take it, Alderson. Worthington running near post, brings people with him, comes back again. Now Sims starts his run, and Sims got there. And Dobson gets it half clear. Whitworth plays it, Sims bangs it in. Well, it was a surprise snapshot from Sims. Gave that some hammer. I think it surprised Wood. He clutched it and held it. He dropped it. A couple of Leicester men were there to pounce on the mistake. May, first time ball in. Higgins gets it forward again for Everton. And Worthington went through with his tackle a little bit late after the ball had gone. So it's a free kick to Everton, more or less the halfway line. A couple of minutes to go to half-time. Everton most positively in the boss seat at the moment. Their away record, fairly useful. A win at Villa, a very, very close defeat at Arsenal, and then they win at Sheffield United in the League Cup. And here they're going well again, and the shot's there for Thomas. Andy King has made it 3. Andy King makes it 3. Oh, and Leicester destroyed by that free kick. Hoisted in the air, and it was the fight of Mike Lyons that cut Leicester apart. When the ball dropped down, there was nobody picking up Andy King, and he blasts it in there. There's now Mackenzie. Now it's Everton. Again surging right side as their short-tempered fuses in the crowd break loose, and Latchford breaking loose with Sims. And Mackenzie drives that one beautifully. Oh, that was so quick and smart. Latchford beating Sims in the run. The cross in for Mackenzie, the first-time drive. Could have been number 4. John Samuels gets that one in for Worthington. Samuels again, wide for Whitworth as we go into stoppage time. Worthington trying to get a turn in, and a good drive, hit the post. Frank Worthington did remarkably well then. Back to goal, shielded the ball, a half turn, super left foot drive, deserved better, but he hit the post. Sims, that's so easy for Rioch though. Terry Darracott. Latchford and Sims, and Latchford got there. And Latchford's in there again. That was a very important interception for May to make. Alderson chased by Mackenzie. Alderson breaks free. Run a long way. Kemba. And Earl couldn't quite get there, and Kemba couldn't get the beef in. The ball is going for a corner. It was a good run by Alderson. Came a long way. John Samuels to take the corner. And that surely slid in finally by Sims. So it's 3-1. Sims scores only his second ever goal for Leicester, the big lad. The corner coming in, drops down, a half chance wasted, and then Sims picks up the pass from Smith and glides it in. Not looking like showing too much improvement at the moment. They're unbeaten at home in 2 games. Oh, and that one's gone through to Latchford, and he's going to get there. Oh, he let Mackenzie have it instead. Oh. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Duncan Mackenzie's magic. He didn't have to weave too many spells to knock that one in. Diabolical blunder by Leicester. Let Latchford go on and take on Wellington all by himself, and as he was sizing himself up to knock the ball in, he saw Mackenzie and said, all right, I've had one, here's one for you. 28 minutes into the second half, and Everton re-establish a clear 3 goals lead. So Leicester got it all to do all over again. Pull 1 goal back, but that mountain becomes higher again for them. Smith, Rofe, Whitworth, helping it on. Worthington, punch, and Samuels. And Kemba miskicked with a goal at his mercy. Rioch, another throw. Wellington gambled a bit on that one. Had a little bit of leg spin on it as it hit the ground. Very nearly took him by surprise. Double challenge on Worthington, not fair, so Leicester get another free kick. Dennis Rofe with the free kick. It's a bad one too. Thomas chucks it down for Latchford. Whitworth bangs it into Latchford, and it'll break now for Thomas. There's a quick look in, there's an offside flag up, not on King, I think, but on Mackenzie, the further of the 2 Everton players at that moment. Mackenzie is getting... Oh, it's King who's getting the yellow card. King, who turned round and said something unpleasant to referee Derek Richardson. So yet another man who scored a goal and marked up a booking this afternoon, Andy King. 4th booking of the game, which really hasn't had enough aggro in it to warrant 4 bookings. They've all been moments of foolishness. Mackenzie, beautiful skills against Rofe. On for Jones. Substitute fullback. May losing that to Thomas, and Whitworth gets it away for Leicester. Smith, Whitworth, Alderson, Sims, gonna drive it straight into the back of David Jones. Thomas, as Rioch starts to break out, goes to Mackenzie, who helps it on to Rioch. He could have himself something here. And this will be Andy King's 2nd goal of the game. And that makes it 5-1. Oh, and that goalkeeper, Wellington. He's really... So he scored in the first half, Andy King, at 44 minutes, and now he's tucked in his 2nd at 44 minutes. Well, that was destructive. Beautifully released pass from Mackenzie, set Rioch going. He races in, tries the shot, it comes out then, and Andy King had the easiest job in the world to tuck it away.
And a 5-1 win there for Everton. Next, we're going to look at your letters, and the first one today comes from Dave Parsons of 13 Pond Close, Newbury in Berkshire, who tells me that Don Rogers, formerly of Swindon, Crystal Palace and Queen's Park Rangers, has now been forced to give up the game. He's had a bit of a hip problem. He's now running a sports goods shop and a building business as well. So from one man, alas, who's out of the game, to another who's looking for the chance to get back in. Jackie Charlton and Peter Dunning of Plymouth and George Carlo, who comes from London SE1, are just 2 viewers who have asked me what Jack has been doing out of football and when he hopes to get back into it.
I don't know. I'm quite enjoying getting up at 10 o'clock in the morning and looking after my pheasants and doing a little bit of fishing. And I said I promised myself a couple of months off to enjoy some of the things that you never have time to do when you're involved in football. And I've taken the time off. I'm about ready to start looking around now for a job. I haven't talked to anybody about a job up to now.
Is that what you've got to do now, do you think?
Well, I'm getting worried that I'm starting to enjoy what I'm doing too much. You know, I think I've got to be a bit more positive in my attitude about the game, and I've got to get back into it in some way, shape or form before I really get used to what I'm doing.
Our last match today, well, the big Manchester derby game. Manchester City, who started the day at the top of the table, and Manchester United, who were lying third. The biggest crowd of the day in England were there, 51,000. So were Granada's cameras. Commentator Gerald Sinstadt, Manchester City in the lighter strip.
Barnes himself taking the kick. Watson deep at the back of the box. Pearson was shadowing him. Watson, nice dummy and a good cross. And just put over by Kidd. But the aerial power was there, and that's where City will test United. A good cross by Watson, nodded on by Booth, and Kidd just over. Watson's free kick. Shannon turning and losing his feet to to Forsyth. And the free kick is about 3 yards outside the box. Hartford is there, but Kidd is behind him and could go for a blast. That's what he does, and gets it in! Must be a question mark about the wall. Kidd measured it, struck it, and Stepney was powerless. And United streaming forward now. Koppel. Forsyth. Top surface is going to cause problems. And Forsyth now stranded upfield as Barnes goes away, and Nicol brings him down. Nicol is going to get a talking to for that. Like a desperate lunge. Nicol knowing that Forsyth was stranded and that Barnes had the pace. Off Albiston's head to Hartford. Albiston misses it, and Kidd 2-0. Couldn't have done more. Kidd presented with the ball from close range, had the power, Stepney parried, but he couldn't keep it out, and that is 2-0. Just in the background there, some animation from Tommy Kavanagh, a man who's never still for the 90 minutes of a football match. Hartford to take the free kick. And Watson was fouled in the box there. Referee letting them play on. And Stepney hasn't got it. And it's put in by Kidd and disallowed by the referee. Well, there are swings and roundabouts in football, but there's no doubt in my mind that Dave Watson was fouled in the penalty area about 30 seconds before that. And then when Kidd got his header in, that was chalked off because of a foul by City. Hartford. Barnes. Hartford. Shannon. And that's
shot that Mick Shannon has ever struck, but enough to come off Stepney's arm and into the net. Now Nicol coming forward and trying a shot, and it's a goal! Jimmy Nicol, from all of 35 yards, took Corrigan absolutely by surprise. Jimmy Nicol just striding away, looked up, took his chance, and did he hit it?
So 3-1 to Manchester City, and that's it. We've shown you today how City have stayed top of the First Division. Liverpool, as usual, making no mistakes. But don't overlook Everton. They well could be the dark horses. A wealth of talented players, sound manager in Gordon Lee, and yesterday 5 goals against a disjointed Leicester City side that left the Merseysiders open-mouthed with the ease of it all.
Now Latchford to drive it left-footed. It's there. Kenzie helps it on. And the shot's there for Thomas. And the shot's there for Thomas. Andy King. And he's going to get there. Oh, he let Mackenzie have it instead. And this will be Andy King's second goal of the game.